Crokel, Crockel, Pucell, Procell, Crokel, and perhaps Nemian Leon. The chant, capital Q V W Z M, then G Z H Z, then a capital X I L X V O O, then L M, then X Z. So it's a 5-word chant. They say that it is a duke, great and strong, over 48 legions, speaking mystically of what is hidden, appearing like an angel or a stereotypical angel, teaching geometry and liberal sciences. Well, angel in English doesn't mean as much as people may think it means. Making noises like many rushing waters on request. On request also appearing like a man. Order of potestates are powers, as it told Solomon, supposedly. It finds baths, they say. And some of the Venusian scents would be yohimbe, wisteria. Don't plant that if you have plants you care about. Violet, vetiver, thyme, strawberry, spearmint, soft palmetto, savory, salep, rose, red sandalwood, red clover, primrose, pomegranate, patchouli, orris, oregano, peppermint, pennyroyal. And if you find the other things, feel free to comment. Tell me other plants that are Venus related or anything related to my videos that's appropriate to share. Go ahead. James Donahue says that it appears with a dark robe and seems to have wings. Seagate says it has yellow cat eyes and silver hair. And James Donahue says it finds water and has a penetrating voice and finds water anywhere, supposedly. You can use dowsing rods and all sorts of things. But anyways, Michael W. Ford says it can soften emotion and warms the cold-hearted, can postpone judgment and win arguments. Johann Weyer said as it speaks darkly of the unseen. So, sort of occultish, sort of, I'm not speaking clearly, I'm trying to let you know, but not let you know. I don't feel that's personally necessary. I do use poetry and other things to convey messages, but I'm not trying to be all sneaky with it. Some say that it warms or cools baths, or it can dirty water. Stephanie Connolly says that it teaches and soothes, aiding in mystical expression and stuff related to feelings. And before I share another, let me share of the music. We have 221.23 hertz, which is an A in the 32nd octave, and 442.5 hertz over 440 hertz, plus 9.6 centimeters. That would be the scientific. Mode 5, F sharp, Mixolydian is what the ONA says about Venus. E through F major would be the traditional sounds. But 103.7 beats per minute would be the oscillation speed, right? And mornings and clear weather is typically what is said about the Dukes. And let's share what's further on the front here. Water, so Karshun. Goap is not water. Goap is fire. Speaks in poems of illumination. Water purifier, shrouded in something pale like the dead, like Ashtaroth in terms of being a spirit guide, and that is what Little Doom Witch had to say. VK Jehennem doesn't have a paper as far as I can see, but he shows the Nemeon Leon having a sigil very much like it, because you see that it's the general shape without the triangle there, but there's an M, there's 3 lines, and then there's this key thing like that. At least I think of it as a key. Serpentise 666 says that she's blonde. Long-haired, has blue wings, wears a blue dress, causes confusion, likes pink candles, and this is not one of the ones in my dream of in 2009, I think was the experience that I represented of that painting there that turned up pink. Baval did show as pink. Did Hagente show up as pink too? Yeah, Hagente showed up as pink. And pink apparently wasn't just because they were the female, because Ashtaroth didn't show up as pink. So I had a different experience. But it wasn't an experience as, here's a bunch of gods I should worship. It was, here's a series of beings. The thing popped out of its thing there and said something to the effect of, I spoke behind an image once and someone got confused and decided to worship me. Because it thought that, I was that god or something. So don't necessarily blame these entities or their legions. There's demonization too, so. Pathfinder Wiki says that it can collect new languages, is in the Palace of Delusion, Stygia, or the 5th Circle of Hell, favors the glaive, whirlpools, and octopuses. So in Ekankar, this entity would be on the 10th plane, or the 11th, or however you're going to say. But anyways, that's just one way of looking at cosmology. The Kabbalah Project had him seen as a Wookiee, friendly-faced, the 11th plane, that's a nice place, laughed at questions, a dark figure. Crokel held a light, sort of like the hermit. And okay, I was trying to figure out exactly where in my brass-lined vessel that I was going to share what I had to say. And let me apologize before sharing the 2011 experience regarding these rituals that I am sorry for being 6 minutes late. I would try to be ideal, but it's cold in here and I had to warm myself before the fire. At the very least, to have an experience to share and to better perform this rather than better, you know. And yes, the heat's on, but anyways, let's give this a dance party. So this was Thursday, the 22nd of November, 2011. I'm sorry. 4:56 to 5:17 p.m. Oh, I should share later about why it's the Gay Bathhouse Demon, but I guess I'll say that later. Okay. Halesia, meaning symbolizing prosperity. I felt heady. I saw auras. I felt a presence over much of the floor. I watched waves of color particles as I flushed with warmth. Clusters of rays coming forth from central points and stopping within an inch flew through patterns as my skin flowed and tingled. Darkness circled me, and I went through periods where I couldn't see the room. There were only psychedelics there. It was almost as if my body didn't exist. I cried and shook as I felt the waves of pleasure come down me. My pain and discomfort is gone. I feel the tears of peace and satisfaction keep coming from me from time to time. And the Gay Bathhouse Demon. Before I get into that, I feel feelings and in various rituals and meditations and stuff, so, it's not just these things, but I will share more of those at another time. I plan to go through my old journals and all that. We see in the symbol the cross. And one of the things that happened in Rome and some other places is that people would mark the individual baths or the baths where people wanted privacy with crosses. Not all of this was Christians. Not all of this was... Some of this was associated with other Mithric faiths. But, because they wanted privacy. And that's one thing that you're going to look at the whole bath thing. Because St. Patrick is where I'm headed here. St. Patrick felt really bad about his mistakes in Rome and the bathhouse. He could have just said stuff, but there are other implications in his story. And his wrestling with demons and whatnot, and dealing with the so-called, with the Gentiles, as he called them, or, as they were referred, could have been his old sin of being in the bathhouse, could have followed him. So the Gay Bathhouse Demon, this is, I could have explained it clearly with other references, perhaps, but this is sort of where it comes. The Gay Bathhouse Demon, the thing with the cross, and people wanting to avoid the gay sex, so they wanted individual baths where they had, where it was marked out, hey, this is not okay here, but there's also, the ritual bath, so the demon's just not all, initiation using a bath. Water is fine. Some people want to be baptized in blood of a bull because, it takes a large animal to bathe a human being in its blood, but, anyways. So, obviously, if we're looking at the ancient Aramaic ending in L or Al. We have Al, work, yoke, experience the staff, rise upon, over, high, above, in, on, over by, for, up, beyond, through, not throughout, against, beside, forth, off, from. Kirk, which does not mean what we think it means in terms of, a church, which is a little bit different than ecclesia. A church would actually be a hero shrine, and an ecclesia would be a public gathering with people outside the family. But kirk here is the garment, and arch is shave, bald, make, ice, frost, crystal. A lot of frost going on right now, but it's not quite the 22nd now, is it? And I'm trying to do these a little bit ahead of time. One every 5 days gets me a little bit ahead every once in a while. Like by a day or something. Because that horizon symbol is the instead of the k, which is that open hand thing. Tear, break, rend, redeem, deliver, booty, crossroad, tear away, fragment, crossway, robbery, broth. Since it's a searching thing and trying to find water and stuff, the crossroad thing makes sense. But just like your voodoo and stuff, your African-based religions, or pretty much any, the use of a crossroad of some way or another are placed between, like a corner of a ceiling and a wall is, there's things like that to use. Perk, whip, rigor, cruelty. Perch, burst, bud, flourish, blossom, grow, break, fly. And let's say cur, dig, hollow, lamb, one of the pasture, captain, pasture, ram, furniture. So you can be a leader and part of the group. Cull, complete vessel, whole. Kalul, complete whole, perfect finish. I've seen a lot of stuff over the years about not perfecting yourself, but come on. Isn't that what we're here for? Ackle, eat, devour, fuel, consume. Aukul, meat, food, eating, victuals, prey. Keel, villain, churl, inherit. Cool, sustain, food, contain, feed, sustain, abide, hold, nourish, receive, victual, bear, comprehend, all, yet, everything, nothing, whosoever. And I've left some out. We have Leel is a night. Yelal, howl or howling. You might hear some, not just water, but some horrible animal sounds with this one. Lull, howl or night. And your typical owl, because the ending in owl. Ox, oath, power, God. God with the lowercase g, something just called God, but not really God. Mighty, goodly, great, idols, strong, to, yoke, ox, strength. The strong authority, staff on the shoulders. Unto, with, against, at, into, in, before, upon, of, by, towards, half, for, on, besides, from, where, after, within. Should I go into the Egyptian? And I don't know if there's a 2012 experience here, but there should be folklore. Okay. In the ancient Egyptian, what do we have? It's a form of apep. Ooh, that's some strong stuff right there. I'm not seeing the practice of the ritual. Number 50 is present here. But we have some notes about what the ritual would be. We have Ksri, Wamati Nahauher. And what would this form of pep have to do? Something about growth or mighty number, maybe? But we have that version of the symbol, which some may have not seen before. I try to mark down the various things. Huntep. And okay, no, that was from last time. So 2014. You don't have to pair these with Wahowall or anything like that. But it can be considered important to consider what the enemies of the demon or what the other side of the working may be. So 2012 is where I'm going to look at next, and let me share that experience before I go into language or something, because I want to give breaks in between so it's not all just, oh, here's the language and that sort of thing. But I do want to run it like a class. But okay, let's look at this here and see. That is a narrower version of the symbol, but it wasn't quite about that, now was it? And I don't think, I'm not seeing an experience in this regard, but I should look up maybe the Egyptian before I go into the Noib-Ag board. The Egyptian that has to do with 49. We also got Punks, Perksu, Perksi. So I'm not sure where that was drawn in there, but it's there somewhere. But okay, the language here. Not quite. I guess I'll use that effect. Latin. Circulator is peddler. Circulor is forming groups for conversation. Circlus is a verb of circulus. Circulus is a circular figure, a circle or circuit. Circulatum is in groups. Procella, a violent wind, a hurricane, a tempest, a violent charge, onset of cavalry. Procello, another very close thing that we're looking at, to throw or cast forward. Did I write a paper on Crokel? I wrote a paper on some of them, which are going to be a little bit different than my series here. I may go back and write my full-on the Goetia of Like the Goetia of Jafar Sabnu. But this is the video version. So, Procelo Sus. Throw cast forward. Okay, tempestuously boisterous. Procul is at a distance, in the distance, or far. Proculco, to tread down, trample upon. Proclivus is sloping forwards, going downwards, or descent. Procles, twin brother of Eurysthenes, founder of one of the two royal houses of Sparta. Corculio, a cornworm or weevil. Curculin, culus, a little weevil. something trifle, worthless. Curculum is a deer heart. Corculum is a deer heart, or a miserable heart. And is there more Latin, or is that... Are we moving on to Greek? Yes, let's move on to Greek here. We have kalo. It says to drive on, push ashore, run ashore. Kraka is wool or thread. So you may interpret this entity and its legions sort of like a Sufi, because Sufi meaning wool, right? You have Proklatas, far famed, heard formerly of olden times. Proklino, leaning forward. That's probably why you have the entity holding something like on one of the hermit cards, because the hermit on the tarot leans forward holding its lamp. Or maybe it just stands up straight and it holds its lamp forward. Proklasis is a challenge, a summons, or a proposal. Prokleo is a weep beforehand or out loud. Why would you weep before something happens? Prokalupto is hang before, or as a covering or pretend, veil or screening oneself. Parakaleo, call, summon, send for, call to help, exhort, discourage, excite, invite, comfort. Parakalupto, cover or veil. Ame, exhort, encourage, advise. Parakeleusis, or Parakeleusis, summoned or helper. Paraklahio, shout out. Paraklahsis, calling to one's aid, summons, exhortation, exploring, comforting, encouraging. Paraklidon, turning aside, swerving from the truth. Paraklino, turn or bend aside, open, slip away, escape. Parakluthen, Parakaleutheo, or Perikhuslos, quite dry. Periclio, or Periclao, or Periclio, is shut in all around. Periclutos is far famed, renowned. Proi lego is collecting in advance. Pro calizo is calling forth, a challenge, a summons, incite, invite, offer, propose, cause, effect. Now, I wonder if one of the things that happens is people have some of the nearby language things in mind when they say that there are certain attributes. Mprakat is a neck in the ancient Aramaic. The Aramea, the so-called biblical Hebrew, but I don't want to call it Hebrew yet because nobody knew it. People knew it as Aramea. Even in the own text, you had that ox head, that head, look at that Negro head, or Semitic head, or same thing really. You had sometimes the meme, the water. Sometimes you had another aleph. But you definitely had a yud the hand and arm, and you had another aleph, the ox head. But anyways, we're not teaching how to read the language per se. We have chirk, nash, chirk, roast, grill, singe, lattice. You have kirk is a garment. Par is open or gape. We have karcha is baldness or bald. You have kirch is shave, bald, make, frost, ice, crystal. So we have things that could be used in terms of operations as an exorcist, as a carcist, as a demon altar. By carcist, I mean, people think that being a good Christian gives them command to summon up demons, and that's what a lot of these grimoires are for, is that, oh, they're a good Christian and they can control demons. So they want to constrain demons and make them do their bidding and stuff. But, an exorcist would want to change the demonic influence, and a demonolator would obviously worship things as gods in their own right. And ka is a bottom, floor, or other. Sul is a fee. Procell is a foot. And we already had al and al, and we already had one of the others, but let me share with you something of importance. I have another version over there, a little different. I have the place in my journal where I have the initial experience, but let's try to work ourselves in this state. But first, let's turn this into a dream. For weeks, I thought that the Enochian magic system needed something like a Ouija board. Noib-Ag. Noib is yes, and Og is no in Enochian. I strongly recommend not to use such things in seances or such polytheistic rituals. Summoning is a strictly forbidden thing to a monotheist. The methods I do recommend is either using it as a scrying board, or by letting your hands, or some type of pointer run over it in a random manner, which you subconsciously, and those involved, subconsciously direct, right? The movement can also be controlled by an unseen force. In the third solar hour, there are always 12 per day, of the 21st day of the 12th month of the year 1424, the second, February 12th, 2004, I had the following vision. That lasted approximately 20 minutes. I lied down in reverence position on a yellow bed with yellow sheets. Part 1. I saw a Janute green drop fall and rest upon the ground. Many more drops fell. The drops fell quickly, one by one. Each drop joined, with the last making it like one huge raindrop-shaped blob. As the drops fell, periodically a bright Janute orange with a Janute yellow disc. After the 7th appearance of the disc, the drops ceased to fall. Part 2. All of a sudden were 3 flashes of Malaka, the light beam, yellow lightning, Each flash was larger than the last. The third was so large that it encompassed my whole field of view. Everything went away when the last flash appeared. Part 3. After the lightning flashes was the appearance of a Malaika, unfallen angel, milky green, white with green sort of color. Haze everywhere, but of the other world. Scrying is setting one's eyes fixed upon a surface to see, either what is unseen or as a method of visualization. These visualizations can be controlled or received. A jinn is made of fire, of another realm. All things in another realm are referred to in their terms. A Malaika is a being made of light, but not, again, something even beyond that. Part 4. After the haze cleared, I saw a clear board. The board was a crystal. Above and around the board swarmed a multitude of jinn. I called out, Go vas zakar lap zirdo nokomad hoath yeda. I say, move, for I am the servant of your God, a true worshipper of the highest. Gahas zakar lap zirdo nokomad hoath yeda. Hoath Aeda. There's different ways to pronounce some of this, but this version that I'm showing here has the no on the bottom and the yes at the top. And here, I guess I did that right the first time. They moved away from the board and formed a circle surrounding the board, and saw that it had black letters. There were 3 rows of 7 letters, the entire Enochian alphabet. The letters were Bagunfai were in the top row. The middle row were the letters Mehlax. In the last row were the letters Narzavsat. The row of letters were surrounded by the word Noib, yes, as the top half of the circle, and the word Og, no, as the bottom half of the circle. All the letters were about the same size as the others in the same word. These 2 words could be read right side up by facing away from the center of the circle. At the top of the board was the word La Call North. On the bottom of the board was the word Babage South. On the right side of the board was the word Ross East. On the left of the board was the word Sabalon West. A piercing but calming voice then said, Awe kekleodom de kakokasan de amiran. Oi kekle od di kakokasam di amiran. In these mysteries and knowledge of contents of your time. Of the translation, I'm absolutely sure, but there's very little doubt as to if these were the exact Enochian words. I usually remember the translation of tongues other than English from my visions, but there's sometimes some doubt as to the exact words in the original language. That is a solid proof that I am not the sort of prophet that everybody has to follow or anything like that. Every prophet received messages from God in their own language too. So let's try to work this board, get a message. So we have an Noib-Ag, BK, GD, FA, EM. Oh, E. Okay. No M after that. M. Y. H. L. P. Q. E. N. O. R. Z. V. S. T. L. V. K. A. L. B. A. B. A. G. E. R. A. A. S. S. O. B. O. L. N. Yawn, 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 yawn. Things became buzzy over the D, the P, and the R. No after yes. North is obscured and then clear. And west, likewise. And let's see what the terms we're looking at mean. D, P, R. Let's look that up, shall we? Before I bid you adieu. D, Laycock. As far as Enochian. Oh, not Laycock. Aaron Leitch. If I'm going to get another Enochian book, it's probably going to be Aaron Leitch on the Liber Loagath. He hasn't written such, but he said that he could in the future. Comment or question while I'm looking at Dialpert means the third flame. O thou third flame, so the 17th Enochian key. I'm not... Leitch. Leitch. It pretty much encompasses everything. And oh, I lost my place. But so it's sort of a something is less than symbol. So the form that it took could refer to you to that. Is there anything that's just straight up DP? Because that's what you want to do. You want to look up your... I'm not. Drillpa is an adjective. Is, was, great. Oh, great. Drillpa. So Drillpa is greatness, but we're not seeing anything straight up D. Dorpa, look about. Dorpal, look upon. We might want to look up the DAs. I know there's other the Enochian letters, but I focus more on how to read things than the thing, and I often don't remember sometimes the Darsar. Is there a Darp? Darg, Darps? No, there's not. But you know, that's enough of a meaning to look at. And what did I say? The blurring of the north, the blurring of the and the appearance of the south. Yes, before no. Focus on what is lawful and good and things you should do rather than I shouldn't do. Because too many people, oh, this is not what I'm against, and I hate this and all this. People end up doing things because they hate things and they focus on things so much and they become what they hated. So, and, if you want to be happy, yes, acknowledge a set of limits. But, you want well-being and you don't want to do just, I don't like this. And North coming up, the feminine. The feminine aspect is more of a Western sort of thing. So in looking at that, I had, I'm not thinking very clearly. I'm trying to interpret the oracle, right? That the feminine being the second thing, the first thing being the mystery, the second thing being the feminine, but we're in the quadrant of Earth, so that's something about that. But just like the entity that we're referring to, yes, we could say Ziminar would be Procell, the Gay Bathhouse Demon, or we can say, secondly, it would be Karshan, would be the elemental king over it. And I'm going to leave that for now. I may have a live broadcast tomorrow about the meek shall inherit the earth. I'm not sure if I'm going to finish that book, but that's certainly a book that I'm going to comment on, and I'm going to consider it both a conspiracy theory and something to do with Jesus and Christianity in a sermon. So it's going to be on those lists. A few things convince, not that I don't see value in Christianity or anything, but few things convince me not to be better not to be Christian than actually looking at the Christian books. But I also find good and truth that seem to be missed in the churches when I pick up the Bible. So, it's not just anyways. It's pursuit of knowledge and pursuit of cleanliness, because the baths and all that. So you can purify, you can dirty, whatever is your bag. Fitarzi vom sarg. Peace be upon you.